Thai.
Mai Tai.
Tell us about a Mai Tai.
Any Mai Tai.
Any Mai Tai.
Our signature cocktail, sir.
Come on.
Something everybody should learn to make.
This episode is brought to you by Enyi. It's the most amazing rum.
Yeah, It's time to shoot some hoops. Get ready for the thrill. NBA SA is on. Let's see who got the skill. From dunks to 3-pointers, we got it all for you. Tune in and join the action. There's nothing else to do. NBA SA, yeah. NBA SA, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
We go live in 3, 2. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the NBA SA show. We are loving on kissies. We are loving on kissies. We are Kirk's out. We want to just, be a bit different with our setting and our mood. And you've never watched the basketball show where the people sit on kissies. So that's what we're doing. What's up, Tim?
I'm good. I am wondering why Kirk and I are sitting alone with you. like you were pharmacists. I mean,
It's rank. It's rank. How are you, bro?
I'm always well, Martin.
Always well. I wanted to start the show today by paying homage to a player that is an icon within our sport. His name is Vince Carter. Yeah. And Vince is going to be in the Hall of Fame. He was selected to join the Hall of Fame. So cheers, fellas, to Vince Carter and the role he played for this beautiful sport. Do you want to tell us quickly, just for those who don't know Vince Carter, who is he? What is he known for?
It's not just anyone you can.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
most notably known for his years as a Dallas Maverick.
No, he's lying. He's better known for his role with the Toronto Raptors and specifically his dunking ability. He has a highlights package that competes with the best in the world, and he's just an icon of our sport.
Yeah, actually, he came from UNC, right?
Yeah.
He came from UNC, and he was playing not behind, but along. Was it Anton Jameson?
Yes.
I think it was Anton Jameson. Yes. They came through UNC together, and at college he was coming with a bench really, for the most part, and then he just exploded onto the NBA and he got drafted. It was like, I don't know where it was, but
It's a dunk contest that he took part in. Anyway.
Wait, I was joking. But you brought up an important point. You put important point going, well, he's best known for his dunking and his highlights for teams when he lost. But he was an important part of a Mavs team that won. He's got a chip there.
Facts.
Right?
He did.
And so if you ask him, I wonder what his highlights would be. Hanging on the rim, right? Winning a ring. There you go.
Vince Carter, if you're watching, please let us know. The internet is a crazy place. Tag Vince Carter, and if he does reply, my breakthrough. Thank you. Alright, but let's get the show started. I want to start the show.
Wait. Then tell Vince what you use his name for.
Vince, I named my eldest son after you. Facts.
Carter Moorman.
Carter Moorman. That's how much he inspired me. He made me fall in love with the game, actually. But another bro who made me fall in love with the game is LeBron James. Kirk has the t-shirt. Kirk is always on point with our discussions and what his merch will be for the day. The LA Lakers, as we speak
But
right
you can't
now,
deny.
it's another conversation. The Lakers are 8th at the moment and are on track to being in form when it matters. There's less than 10 games left for all of the teams in the NBA. And the Lakers have now won 4 games in a row. They look fantastic. And they will be entering a part of the season where you really actually want your team to be on form. So Kirk, I'm going to hand over to you, bro. What are the Lakers doing well? Where do you foresee them going for the rest of the season? Give me your thoughts on the Lakers, bro.
I've said it from the start of the season that if Anthony Davis can play like he has been playing throughout the season, they are a hard team to stop. He's putting up stupid numbers. He's grabbing rebounds. He's looking aggressive. I think he's the difference to that side personally. LeBron does LeBron things. He's putting up close to triple-double numbers every other night. The rest of the role players are also finding their groove. And the nice thing about the Lakers is they big on the guard around the perimeter. We spoke last time about Prince coming back, and that just changing the dynamic of the size of the guards around the perimeter. And they close out well with LeBron's experience. They are a dangerous fourth quarter team. I've always said if you're not leading the Lakers by 15, 20 points going into the fourth, you're going to struggle to win that game, because all of a sudden they clamp down on D, they get away with a bunch of calls, AD picks up every single foul in the fucking planet, and they just are a very confident closeout team, which makes them very dangerous for the players. And I said from the beginning, I said it about them. If they are in the play-in, they are a dangerous one-and-done team. So I believe they will come out of the play-in. They'll coast through the play-ins, and if they finish 8th and Denver are still without Jamal Murray, that could be a very long series for Denver. So things are falling in place for the Lakers.
As I said from the beginning.
What did you say, Wes?
What did you say?
It's not about what I say. Tell me, what do you say about the Lakers?
I'm saying that you guys got very excited for how they could make the first round very long.
It's the West. It's the West. The West.
Right, if Jamal Murray is not there.
Yes. Look, they are big. They've got two world talents, right, with lots of experience. They've got LeBron, arguably the smartest basketball player ever. And like you said, they're a big brand and they get calls, right? And so I wouldn't. Who are they likely to play in the play-in? The Pelicans.
Sack is in.
No, I think they're likely.
First 6, so 7 and 8 play first.
Yes. I think they first like
Pelicans.
Yeah, and
Which means they're in 7.
the Pels could be great. I think the ceiling is high, right? But I don't trust them for
No.
right? And so there's
Have you seen their fourth quarter?
Exactly.
It's stink. It's you grab the ball. Now play, score. Yeah.
So I would put money on the Lakers definitely making another play. But I think we all would have done that, regardless of whether they were 10, 9, 8 or 7.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that actually, regardless of who they play in the first round, they'll make that difficult. At the same stage, Eddie could also catch a rebound or make some coffee and he gyms up for the rest of the play.
Bust his knee.
That could absolutely also happen. D'Lo, who is magic for them at the moment, right, could suddenly no longer have ice in his vein, and then that's.
Is this like his third stint in LA?
Could be. He was drafted, right?
Yes.
And he got traded away?
Yes. I don't know if this is his second.
It could be second.
Yeah. But I suppose my point is everything that you said. I agree with everything that you said, Kirk. But all of that could it's like a house of cards.
Yes.
Yeah. No breeze could come through and knock all of
It's
that.
like that bet rationale.
Yeah.
Every argument for is an argument against.
Nice.
True story, but I do think that it's cool for the play, and I
Yes.
do think that it's cool for the first round.
I think so.
And look, they did it last year, right? And they went further. So there's no reason why you should doubt them again. I wouldn't put money against it.
Let's hope they play Golden State in the play at some point.
Nah, I see the Lakers.
Look, if they win their first game, then they're not.
Then they say,
Correct.
but they could easily lose to the Pels.
Yeah.
And Golden State could easily beat the Sacramento. Yeah. And then you'll have your wish.
Yeah.
Interesting time for the Western Conference.
But the reality is, I don't see them losing to the Pels.
Yeah. This episode was brought to you by Inyi Ram. Check here.
It's Catholic.
You know how quiet you are when you got an alcohol sponsor pub. It just so happens the owner is also come. So it's a cheap plug. But get Inyi Ram just because you know the brat that owns a rum. But also we want to say hi to Fitch and Leeds. Because you should do the right thing.
Yeah. And that's what we do.
Talk about everyone that's involved. To me, The Dallas Mavericks are in fifth position at the moment. My favorite player to watch is Kyrie Irving. And oh, it's sockies. Show the people the sockies. Show the people the sockies. Come on.
My cousin's too low. I can't
Yeah, but Dallas is a.
I blame you for that.
Dallas is a beautiful team to watch. If you don't watch much basketball, I would highly recommend that you watch a Dallas Mavericks game. Kyrie Irving is an artist with the ball, and Luka Doncic is a generational type player that even the experienced guys don't understand how he does what he does. To me, as a Dallas fan, talk to us about the season that has been with Dallas and why it's so important that they're in fifth at the moment for what they've done over this last couple of rounds. For reference, Tim watches all of Dallas's games.
100% of it.
He's our Dallas expert. So give us a Dallas conversation there, bro.
You should always temper a fan's opinion for an expert opinion.
100%.
Hence me saying.
Look, I think that many clubs draft a great player and then get put onto all sorts of weird timelines, right? And sometimes that player wants to win now and they're not ready to, and actually because the club has been in a situation where they were able to draft high, they are probably a bad team in general, and then what you start to see happen so often is clubs make bad decisions. So they try and go in too much too soon, and they effectively give away their future, and that becomes problematic because sometimes that player isn't ready. And then what ends up happening, it fails, management gets chucked out, player decides to leave, and then they start and they go on this sort of hamster wheel of that effect. And sometimes clubs do it really well, and they don't get tempted by that. They keep their gunpowder dry, right? And they wait for the players to be ready, and eventually they go. Actually, the Thunder seems to be doing a great job. They're the poster child of that. And I actually think that the Mavs have got the timing right with Luka, right, specifically. They've gone all in, make no doubt. Like this particular management and team, if this doesn't work, they don't have many other options left.
Yeah.
Right? They are giving away many of their drafts. They're doing draft swaps for the future. They don't really control their draft equity in the near future, and so they had to be. Nico Harrison had to be super smart around who he put around Luka, right? And who was going to make Luka happy. Yes. And don't think that wasn't a part of all of this, right? He needed a wingman that he could call Batman, right? Which he did. And I want to talk about the good vibes of the team because that's probably one of the most important things that we should talk about here. And Luka always wanted to play with the rim running bigs, and they managed to draft a big. Actually, they missed the playoffs last year because they threw a game at the end, and they threw a game to get to keep their draft spot, which was draft pick number 10. I think it was 10 or 11. And they were heavily criticized by it. And, you're throwing games for a higher pick. And then they got Lively with that pick.
Yes.
Wow. And Lively has been an NBA really big, right? Who's not the best big in the world, but yes, he is the future of that position. And then they made the big call to get another big rim running center in Gafford, right? And then King made an even bigger call to bench Lively and start Gafford, right? And as a center, if you merge all of their minutes into one, they give you better production than 80, right? Because
it's fighting words.
100%. Of course, 80 doesn't need all the minutes that they do. But as a one-man unit, they are giving you excellent production. They are big. They are making Luka happy. They make Kyrie look good. And somehow Luka has adapted. Everybody said, well, Luka won't adapt, or Kyrie's going to do crazy stuff. Kyrie's never done crazy stuff over here. They've treated him like the Batman. They've given him the respect that he wants and needed. They've paid him, right? He has been comfortable with going to stand in the corner while Luka works his magic, and they stagger their minutes. Always what happens, the two of them start, Kyrie goes to the bench first, right? Then Luka goes to the bench and Kyrie takes over. And at the end of the game, they're closing things out together. Luka has played a more up-paced game. So you'll see him get the rebound more often and throw the ball up the court. right? Kyrie loves that, and when it goes into the half court, he refers to Luka and he says, okay, cool, this is this is your show. And then everybody else around him, they want to go and get tall, lanky, guys who can jump and catch lobs, and guys who are going to defend the other place so that they can hide both those positions. Yeah, I think that the team has been, it's been a really thoughtful approach. They've been optimistic with who they've gotten. And the thing I want to talk most about all of this isn't the basketball, isn't the way but more.
But wait, there's more.
Tell us how you get it.
The acid test in this is that they like each other. You can see they genuinely enjoy playing with one another. Egos, they've all got big egos, it's the NBA, right? All got big egos, right? But the reality is that these guys genuinely seem to be enjoying each other. It comes out in little big things, right? As much as Luka was sort of joking at the press conference when he said, Kyrie's the Batman and I'm the Robin. Those things are meaningful because you'll never hear KD say that or Tatum say that, right? Joker maybe. Right? But you'll never hear the rest of it. Kyrie says nothing but good things about Luka. The other guys are like, we understand our roles. They asked Derek Lively, who's the rookie, who just got benched. Right? Hey man, how do you feel about being benched? And how do you feel about the fact that you've got to stand around watching these other two guys? Right? And basically his answer was, this is what we set up to do.
Yeah.
I can start that and they'll recognize me there. And those guys go and do that and they make all the rest of us look good. Yeah, there's something really special about that. And you know the best part about them in 5 is they're still underdogs.
Pretty much.
They're not playing with the expectation. Yeah, everything that they win now is house money.
You know what the worst part about them in 5 is?
What's that?
Clippers are 4.
Yep.
You like them over the
But
Clippers?
they beat them in the last season.
But the Clippers moved them like 2 seasons before.
Before that, yeah. The Clippers first beat them and it was just Luka and nobody else. Right? And then last season, they beat the Clippers.
But didn't they beat them without Kawhi and or Paul George?
How do you feel about Dallas?
Hey, Guru. I didn't even know what to say.
He broke it
Maybe
up proper.
The one thing I want to say is it's amazing that they got Kyrie to play ball though, because his entire career has been one of him being a dick. And
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but he looks like the fucking goody two shoes of note of the NBA. Interesting. Wait. Hey, you had your say. I said one sentence.
I got more, Dallas. I got more. Yeah.
I had an interesting stat they gave on Kyrie. They were saying that he is the most efficient fourth quarter player. I believe it's currently in the NBA or in a long time in the NBA. Which is crazy considering his very volatile journey through the last few years. He's still the most efficient fourth quarter player. The other thing I wanted to say was the timing for Mavs is great because when did they win the chip? It was the 11, yeah. So like
when Tanner was born. Our first child.
Significance, pal.
Oh yeah. So it's almost like you say that they're all in now, and the timing is sort of right for them to go all in again because it feels like they're still feeling good about that chip, and it's getting to a point now where they need to make another move. So it feels like the timing is right in terms of the overall arch of the franchise, which is great, and it feels like they understand that and they're going for it now. And just
In the present moment, do you think they have the capacity to go to the NBA Finals?
I don't know.
You reckon they are
not with the current
second round, first
not
round?
with the current West setup.
Where do you see
I don't
them
think they can get through the Clippers, this current Clippers team, and them, which have playoff beef. It's going to be a fuck this series. And I'm generally confident in calling outcomes. I can't call the outcome of this one. To be honest,
because I had to put your money down.
If I had to put my money down, I would say Clippers. Yeah.
You feel strongly that Dallas beat the Clippers in the first round?
As a fan?
No. As a guy who knows the game.
As a fan, 100%.
Yeah.
Right?
What you say? If you had to put money down,
I'll put it in the Mavs. If I had to put money down, I'll put it in the Mavs because the Clippers have been stunk. for the last 2 months. Last 2 months they're 500 team.
That's because the rush was out.
Kawhi isn't playing at the moment. Yeah, that can't make any Clipper fan feel good about things. And when you talk about beef, right? I don't know if your leaders of the Clippers are guys who seem to be capable of holding grudges and having beef. Yeah. So Kawhi just doesn't seem to be that dude unless you pop, right? And Paul George seems like the nicest guy in the fucking NBA, right? And Russ and Westbrook.
Who are the Dallas guys?
Russ and Harden weren't there.
That kind of beef.
No, but my point is,
They're equally nonchalant about it, but there is
On a club level.
except I think Luka keeps grudges. And the reason why I say that is
He looks like that type of brother. He looks
Osmosis.
Yeah.
But I think he took it personal and
Yes, that's why they smacked him last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And did you see when they beat Phoenix? When they beat Phoenix at the beginning of this season, they smacked him.
Yeah.
Right? Luka on his Insta, somebody had created a little cartoon, right, of Luka going to a little booker, going, "Here's some of your daddy."
Oh.
And Luka posted that himself. So I reckon he is the type of guy that keeps it, and he's the leader, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're a third or fourth guy, right? What matters is less. If the third or fourth guy is the one that's beefing,
Yeah.
you're just making a noise on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we've spoken about this before. It's that your entire team needs to believe.
That's right.
Because if one brother believes and 7 people don't believe,
Yeah.
the minute things go pear-shaped, the rest of the guys will be like, you do you.
Which again, I'm gonna go back to the good vibes being such a big deal, right? You've got a good vibes team where everybody understands their role, right? Everybody's got a bit of a chip in their shoulder and nobody's won anything yet, right? And you've got this other team over there, right? That just, they don't seem to have that, and they're playing at 500 basketball at this point in time, right? The leader is the most quiet dude there. Right? They lost before. It's just it's a meh. Now can they win? Yeah, they've got fucking 4 Hall of Fame players in that lineup. Yeah, if they put it together, that's a scary ass team.
Yeah.
But what are the last 2 months has given the Clips any indication, right, that they can do it? Now before that they went on that 21-2 run or whatever it was, right? And
That's when all of them are out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there was also a game, and then since then, what? Nothing.
I think they just
That's the
I
one.
think they're just waiting for the play.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing. And maybe they've got that on switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen many teams go, we'll just switch on the on switch and then it didn't happen. Yeah, because you're playing against another team. And maybe that the difference between the West and the East. The East,
Yay!
100%. The difference between the West and the East, the difference between 1 and 2 is 12 games.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah? Boston is 12 games better than the Bucks, who are the clear second best team there. Right? The difference between first and 8th. Well, actually, let's go first in the first 6. Right? That's a difference of 6 games.
Yes. Between 1 and 6.
1 and 6. So you win 55, I win 49. I don't know
But
if
look,
that's...
that's a bit skewed because what is the difference between 2nd and 6th in the East?
So the difference between the first 3 is 1 game
It's in the West.
in the West. Yeah. Oh, the difference between in the East.
Yeah. So you, because of Celtics' amazing season, it's skewing the East drastically. So if you look at 2 to 6, is that a better reflection of what the East is doing compared to what the West is doing? That's my point.
We'll go in a break. We'll go and check that and come back. But I suppose my point is, in answering Wes's question where he goes, can they make the finals? And you were like, the West is difficult, how are they going to get out the West? I'm going to go, well, actually, the guys who are going to be competing in the playoffs in the West, they actually are quite close. There are very small margins between these teams.
So it can go
It's
anywhere.
100%.
Can go anywhere.
Yeah? Which is very different when we had the conversation about the East last week, where we were like, hey man, who's going to come out of the East?
Yeah.
And we go, blah, 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 blah. It's Boston.
Yeah.
But the flip to that is the conversation of who's going to meet Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals is different because
Yes,
my point
because,
being,
no, exactly, because
Yeah.
they're close.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
After the break, we'll be talking about Chet versus Wemby. If you don't know who I'm talking about, they are rookies who have stolen the show for this entire season. And after that, we'll be talking about the Eastern Conference with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Orlando Magic, and I think it's the New York Knicks in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and how this East will play out. Catch you after the break. Welcome back to the show. It's the NBA SA show, season 3, episode 2. I'm super proud of the fact that we even made it to episode 2 of season 3. It's very tough. I'll tell you guys this, it's very tough to try and do this thing and make time as dads to be able to do this and professionals. So just to be able to do this is quite short-term, shortcut.
We appreciate you.
Alright, we're moving on to Chet versus Wemby. Tim, I'm going to give you the floor first. For those who don't know who they are, give us a description of who they are and why we're even talking about them.
Okay. So first of all, Chet wasn't drafted in this draft. He was drafted in the last one, and unfortunately he came in and he was injured. He's been the number one American prospect coming out of the American system for, I suppose, since he was probably 10. And the reason for this is because of his extreme height. He's a 7-footer, and he's got silky smooth skills, so he can play with the bigs. He's got a small frame now, and he can shoot, and he's got a lot of dog in him. He's a fighter, and so he came out and he was with the team for the full season last year, except he never played. So he learned a lot, and he got himself a little bit bigger, and he was more game ready when he started this NBA season. Wemby is an international
Anomaly.
Anomaly is the best word,
Yes.
right? Depending on who you speak to, is anything from 7'4" to 7'6". He's a fantastic shooter. He's also got silky smooth skills. There's things that he does in a basketball court which are absolutely unheard of. He played in the French second division last year, so not even their first. He was always known that he was going to go number 1 in the draft. When he hit the NBA, there were huge amounts of expectations on him. And to be fair to him, he's had to shoulder the burden of not only a terrible team, but also the Spurs have been very cautious with him, and they put him on a minutes restriction for the first 2/3 of the season. And so what ended up happening was, Chet was on a winning team where he hasn't been the focal point. In fact, he's the 3rd best player in one of the best 3 teams in the West, which means that he can add a lot, right, without being the focal point of the defense. Whereas Wemby had to not only customize himself to a French A division, he had to customize himself to the NBA, right, and had to be the focal point, and everybody effectively was gunning for, oh, this is apparently the new kid. So the way, and on a minutes restriction, so the way the season started was, Chet was amazing, Wemby maybe a little bit underwhelming, right, and then since the All-Star break, they've started to ramp up the minutes, Wemby started to figure some things out, and the Wemby train, in terms of the fans, that started and everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. The reality is, I would be feeling really good if I was either a Thunder fan or a Spurs fan. And either one of these two guys would be phenomenal. And I kind of feel sorry for Chet, because any other year, he would be the runaway rookie of the year. And I don't think he's going to get it. And I don't think he's going to get it not because he hasn't been great, but because he's
Someone better.
Not only that there's somebody better, but it's because he happened to have landed with his butt in the butter, right? And he's not the best player in the team, and he's playing in a winning environment. I think that those things are going to count against him when it comes time to vote. But 2 amazing players, very unique. They're like the big Yao Mings, except with more skill, and hopefully will be injured less because they have a little bit of smaller frames. They can get bullied, no doubt. There are lots of things that they both have to learn. But super exciting for the league, for those teams, and scary for everybody that's going to play against them.
Katie, what excites you about the 2 of them? So for reference, they are both first-year players, really young. They've got a body frame which is quite thin, so I mean the future looks ridiculous. If you look at what Giannis looked like when he started, he looked very similar to them. Thin, with a lot of potential, and if you know what Giannis looks like now, then Wemby and Chet's future looks unbelievable. Kurt, what excites you about the 2 of them?
Picture a tall, skinny KD.
Yes.
Basically.
Taller.
Yeah, I was like, that is already tall.
Exactly. Think of a skinnier, taller KD, and with the same range of skills, and that's who these guys are. So, technically, is it technically that Chet is not in his first year, or is it technically Chet is in his first year?
I think it's his first year.
Because he got dropped the year before, he was injured and he didn't play.
He didn't even play one game.
Just like Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
So he sort of had a nice run in because he had a season to sort of work his way
acclimatize
into the league. And it's 100% circumstance. The fact that he's on a team that's vying for the top spot in the West, behind 2 or 3 fantastic players, and he's playing effectively a supporting role, and really in a great position as a talented rookie to grow into a winning culture. Whereas Wemby is like you say, he's the focal point of a cup team. They again, I think they're bottom or second from bottom. I mean, they don't have a great record in the West, and that's why Wemby will win Rookie of the Year because his numbers are by far better. He's averaging a double, but on a losing team. But purely because of his numbers and his production, he'll get a Rookie of the Year. But it's weird because they both equally in, I feel, the right situation for them. Because Wemby is under Pop is fantastic at nurturing and grooming and teaching and playing basketball the right way, if that's a thing. But he plays, we all know Spurs play team basketball, they share the ball, move the ball, where as opposed to a bunch of teams that play ISO ball. And Chet is in a position where he's on a winning team and he can just grow into a winning culture, like I said. So both have lots of positives for them, and like Timmy says, both of their futures look bright. If you're a Thunder fan or if you're a Spurs fan, your future's golden. But Wemby's taking
But go do some research, go check out these 2 players. They are phenomenal for the future, especially if you love basketball in the NBA. These are 2 names we're going to be talking about for many, many years to come.
And just watch their highlights, you'll see flat-footed dunks and fadeaway threes, but it's like
Wemby took a 3 and he knew he was going to miss it, and so he started running in, and he got a tip jam, basically jumping from outside of the key off of his own missed 3. It's the most incredible thing. It's the most incredible thing.
He got a tip dunk off a missed 3 that he took.
Jumping from outside of the key.
Let that sink in. Gentlemen, moving on to the West, to the Eastern Conference. So we talk a lot about Boston, who are clear leaders within the Eastern Conference. They've got Milwaukee, which is in second, which will probably end up as the second best team in the East. And arguably that should be the Eastern Conference final. Should be, but crazier things have happened. Which now leads us to third, fourth and fifth, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers. In fourth position is Orlando Magic, and in fifth position is the New York Knicks. All 3 teams play a beautiful brand of basketball, but can be hot and cold from night to night. I think if anything, the Knicks look like the Knicks and the Cavs look like the 2 teams for me that should probably end third and fourth. I see Orlando ending fifth. That's me. It might just be my heart speaking and not facts. But Kirk, I want to start with you, bro. Let's go with between the 3 teams. Who do you see ending top of those 3? And then give me your in-depth analysis of the other 2. So who do you think is the best of the 3? And then the other 2.
So New York lost Julius Randle for the season, right? So they're going to struggle in the East. I must say that the last few years watching Mavs, I always commented on how grumpy they would moan with the refs constantly, and I thought it was Luka, but I'm realizing it was actually Brunson.
Yes.
When I take my shoes off again.
Brunson is like that fucking Jack Russell that has a Rottweiler in the back, and you go because you know you got crack in the back.
Come on, brother.
That oak, I watched their last game and he was on the refs every single call for that last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. It's so unpleasant watching a game like that. Yeah. But yeah, so they've lost Randall. Brunson is a fantastic player. He's really
He's a superstar.
He's the real deal. But I think Cleveland with Spider coming back, they look a bit more focused. I'm not entirely convinced that Spider is gonna renew many playoff series. But that team, they do they get out of the first round? Do any of those 3 teams get out of the first round?
Well, one of them has to. Just
By-
because they're gonna
by-
play each other, right? 4 plus 5, so
Yes.
statistically.
So realistically, Orlando gets out of the first round. And we enjoy Orlando. We are enjoying Banchero and that whole young team. I mean, Tim has been touting them for 2 seasons now. He's been saying they are fantastic, entertaining team to watch, and they're coming good. And they again, them and. Did you say New York is playing with? I think them out of those 3 feel that they are playing with house money more than the other 2.
100%.
I think in terms of New York's
More
history,
professional.
and they psycho fans, they are under pressure. Cleveland with the moves that they've made are under pressure, whereas Orlando, I think they're playing with house money and they're the most likely to come out of the first round.
Your thoughts? Let's maybe start with Orlando. You've had a little narrative with Orlando. Give your thoughts on Orlando and then what you think of it. Cleveland and the Knicks.
I think Kirk is 100% right. They are playing with house money, right? I reckon the goal was realistically to make the playoffs. Being in the 4-5 seed,
Yeah.
that's best version of all of this. Paolo, another amazing talent. They clearly got that draft.
Yes.
Right.
Really right.
Yeah.
Yeah, best player to get there. And then the younger Wagner brother
Yes.
is next level good.
Skill,
Right?
man.
Next
The
level
skill
good.
for that big
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
And Suggs, the reality is that Suggs probably is disappointed in terms of what they expected him to be, but it's come due in terms of he's now the focal point of effectively one of the best 3 defenses in the NBA. And Jonathan Isaac has stopped saying stupid stuff and he's coming off the bench,
Yeah.
right? And these guys are big and long and they care about defense. And if the game is close at the end, they would lose. Right? But they're gonna learn a lot. They're gonna learn a lot from that. And there are a lot of guys in that team who look like they want to take the big shot. Suggs has done it his entire career. Paolo's he wants to take the big shot. The Wagner brothers want to take it. And they don't have a lot of veterans, and they've done really well in also keeping their powder dry. Yeah, they could have gone really big at the end, but they were like, actually, you know, we're doing better than we want. Let these guys have their minutes. Let them take their lashings, right? And learn from it. And I think because of that, and because of them playing with less pressure, right? I think they could sneak a first round series, right? Especially if they play New York without Julius is one thing.
Yeah.
It's the OG Brunson combination that's got some stupid record of being there, but OG hasn't been there either. He was injured, he came back, right? And it's a shoulder or arm injury, right? If anybody's had a shoulder injury, these things are like impossible to heal quickly. Yeah? So even if OG comes back, right? I'm not convinced he's coming back and he's suddenly changing things up on offense for that team. Yeah. And it's the offense part that they're going to struggle against an Orlando team, right? And Tibbs, I don't think Tibbs is ever going to sub Miles McBride, right, or Josh Hart, right? So that Orlando defense is like, ooh, we only have to play against these 5 guys because Tibbs is playing nobody off the bench, right? And so I think it's tough. I was very excited about the New York team,
Yes.
right? I think that New York team with Julius, with OG, I think that they're the only team legitimately that can go punch Boston in the face and go, okay, cool, let's make this a series. And so I'm sad that they're not going to play. But without them, I'm happy that Orlando's going to get this. I don't trust Cleveland at all. They were another team like the Clippers. They went on that 19-1 stitch.
Yes.
And now they've been 50 basketball, right, ever since. Strange. Again, in my head, it's great. Love Mobley, love Allen, love Garland, love Mitchell, love the fact that they got some shooting around there in the Struce. Right? It all seems to make sense. It just hasn't for some reason. Hasn't come together. And so I don't trust it. Right? And then if we're going to talk about Orlando, And we're going to talk about Cleveland, who I don't trust, and New York, who I no longer trust. Right? Sorry, Wes. I warned you. We can't have this conversation without talking about Philly. We cannot have it, right? Because Philly, I'd argue, I trust more than all three of those teams. It's just that Embiid was injured. And if you had to ask me what I put my money on, right? Boston, Milwaukee, and actually I'm going to jump fully to the top of that and go. As long as Embiid's there, right? Philly's better than those other three teams.
Yeah, just for reference, because I was going to end the show with talking about Philly.
My bad.
Is so they've got this strong Eastern Conference top 6, if you call it. There's Boston that's leading by far. They've got 2 to 6, which are quite close, with Indiana being in 6th position. But what Tim is talking about is Philadelphia are in 7th or 8th.
Philly's in 8th.
They're in 8th position.
Which, half a game behind Miami.
Yeah, which as we speak, it's not a great position, but for you to understand, Philly's in 8th position. They're probably going to end 6th or 7th with Joel Embiid, who is now back in the team. So the reason why they dropped quite low is because their best player was injured and couldn't play. And their best player was probably the MVP at the time when he got injured. So this changes a massive dynamic to the East. Kurt, maybe just want to add to that on the Philly conversation. Do they spoil it for these three teams we just spoke about?
Actually, I really hope that Philly finishes 7th.
Okay, so they can play Milwaukee.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's gonna spoil. Imagine Milwaukee goes out in the first round.
That's the reality.
Oh, you're gonna get that Giannis speech again. Was it a failure? No, it wasn't a failure. It was steps to success.
But
Yeah.
the story is that Doc is coaching the Bucks, and that's gonna be fantastic to watch Philly spank them out of the.
Again, for those who don't know, Doc was the coach of Philadelphia, got fired, and now he's the coach of Milwaukee. So if they played each other in the first round, it's spicy.
There's gonna be some spice there. So we were speaking about it in the break. We were saying that the difference between 2 and 6 in the East is actually tighter than the difference between 2 and 6 in the West. So the East is actually more competitive than the West, even though 1 and 6 is skewed drastically. So that the Eastern Conference, the fight for the Eastern Conference final spot against Boston is going to be super interesting. Yeah. So that's going to be, because we were all saying, fuck it, Boston's going to walk it. But actually, the teams fighting to play Boston in the conference finals, that is going to be quite an interesting battle. So look forward to that Eastern Conference.
Yeah. And that's it up for today's show. Tim and Kirk, thank you very much. Let's leave them with under 10 games left to play. I'm watching this podcast, and I now want to go and watch 1 or 2 teams before the playoffs start. Who should they go and watch them?
I mean, look.
Not as a Dallas fan. I said they must watch Dallas because of just watching exciting kind of basketball.
Well, I agree with Wes.
But outside of Dallas, who should they go and watch to entertain themselves?
I think I would go out and look at the teams that may have a legitimate upset probability.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And so with that, that's anybody who's not in the first 4 or not in the top 4 seeded ranks on either side. So if we thought that and said, well, you can't look at the top 4 here and you can't look at the top 4 here, then I'd go on the West. Yes, you should go and take a look at the Mavs, right? I would go and take a look at the Pels, because that Pels team, as much as I don't trust them, are so exciting. And when Zion is playing well, and in fairness to them, Brandon Ingram hasn't been around. He's supposed to be coming back this weekend or just afterwards, right? When he is back, it's another little feather in the cap. And Alvarado will come back. Man, they are fun. They like each other. They are tough. Definitely watch the Pels. Definitely watch the Mavs. And yes, this is the only time I'll give a little Lakers shout out. Probably go and watch the Lakers. Right? Because they can legitimately all beat one of the top 4.
Yeah. Easily.
Then on the East, I would say go and take a look at Orlando, just because they're fun and they're young, and so you can get on that bandwagon early.
Break out that old Shaq.
Yeah, okay. Your penny. We respect your pennies.
Yeah.
Number one in our hearts.
I saw a guy on the weekend was wearing a pair of pennies, and he didn't know his surname was Hardaway. He didn't know Penny's surname was
He just
Hardaway.
knew it as Penny.
He just liked the tackies. It's pennies.
There we go.
Culture, man. Kirk, who should people go and watch?
So watch the teams trying to get out of the play-in. So in the East, Miami are half a game behind Indy. So they're gonna be playing with some, and they're a liquor team to watch because they play with heart.
Yeah, they still have Spo.
Any day of the week they play with heart, and if they're trying to get out of the play-in, they'll have even more spunk. So they'll be fun to watch. And they're trying to get away from Philly. Watch Philly. Philly are half a game behind them, so they also in the race. So Philly, Miami in the West is like New Orleans. New Orleans are one game behind Phoenix and half a game ahead of Lakers. So any of those set, Lakers, Phoenix, and New Orleans, they're all trying to get out of the play-in. So those games all have sort of play or feel about them already. So there's a lot of excitement around those games and a lot of energy. Those are the games to watch.
Peace out, Mensa. We'll catch you next week. Our next episode we'll be talking about the playoffs. It's done.
Because the regular season
Matters. Thank you. Matters, Kirk. Hater.